Something strange is going on with the Rams tight end situation after the week 1 matchup heading into week 2. Sean McVay gives us more clarity on that, as well as some O-line issues looming heading into week 2's matchup against the Titans. All that and more on this episode of Rams Digest. And welcome back to another episode of Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Finehirsh. And before we head into today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 5K. 5,000 subscribers right now, so make sure to hit that sub button right now and click that notification bell. Click all so you get notified whenever we post our daily new Rams Digest video content covering all things Rams, so you do not miss a beat this NFL and Rams season. And leave a like on this video right now as we head into week 2 of the NFL season, starting off tomorrow with what should be an amazing game between the Packers and Commanders. And obviously on Sunday we got the Rams versus the Titans for the first road game of the year. A morning game, 10 a.m., so get your breakfast and football ready this coming Sunday. But we have a game preview to get into for today, starting off with the tight end position group that is in a bit of a flux right now after week 1, and Sean McVay gives us more clarity on that. And this story is brought to us by Rams Wire, so let's get into it right now. There's been a lot of excitement surrounding LA Rams rookie Terrance Ferguson this offseason, being the team's top pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. He shined in his preseason debut against the Cleveland Browns a few weeks ago, but he was absent from the game plan in week 1 of the regular season. Ferguson dressed and was active, but he didn't play a single offensive snap and only contributed on special teams. That surprised some, but being a rookie tight end who missed a few weeks with a groin injury this summer, the Rams are taking it slow with their young playmaker. I understand that approach, taking it slower. He did have the injury. He couldn't play much of the preseason, get a lot of reps with the ones, but for him to be active and dressed and not play any snaps didn't really make sense to me, especially being behind Colby Parkinson and Davis Allen. He should definitely be behind Higbee, who also didn't get any targets, but we'll talk about that later on in this story. But the only tight end to really do anything was Davis Allen. I mean, Colby Parkinson had an injury, but he came back in and had negative yards. Davis Allen had a nice touchdown catch to give us the lead. I'm more and more sold on Davis Allen by the game, but Terrance Ferguson needs to be playing out of Colby Parkinson, for sure. Even in week 1, even with the lack of reps from the preseason. He looked good against the Browns. I know it was backups, but you drafted Terrance Ferguson with your first overall pick. I get the second round, but your first overall pick of the draft. You picked him, which means you believe in him a lot. It means you put a lot of resources into scouting him. There were even reports that the Rams would have taken him in the first round, but getting that extra pick, I don't blame him for trading back at all, so with Terrance Ferguson taking it slow makes sense, but with a lesser opponent coming up on the schedule in the Titans, I do think it is important that Terrance Ferguson can at least play some snaps, even if he only gets one target, just to learn the blocking scheme, I think. The only way he's going to get better and learn is by being in game. This isn't like a rookie quarterback where you can rush him in there too much at once. No, Terrance Ferguson's not supposed to be your number 1 guy on offense already, and maybe even ever, because as long as Puka Nacua is a Ram, he's going to be your number 1 receiving target as a whole, as long as he's in his prime. So Terrance Ferguson not getting any snaps really didn't make any sense to me. Josh and I were talking about it on stream. It was something we were looking forward to, but did not see. Sean McVay was asked about Ferguson on the Coach McVay show this week, and he acknowledged that the Rams want to find a way to get him going on offense. They just felt it was best to lean on their veterans in Tyler Higbee, Colby Parkinson, and Davis Allen against a physical Texans team on Sunday. And we have the full quote here from Sean McVay right now. Ferguson is going to be a big factor for us. We've got to be able to figure out a way to get him involved, McVay said. He had the groin injury where he missed a bunch of time. That type of game felt like that was going to be the best approach. Obviously great having Higbee back. I think Colby Parkinson and Davis Allen have both improved tremendously, and Ferguson is the guy that's going to be a really good player for us, and that is from Sean McVay. I get what he means, again, about the physical defense. The Texans, as I mentioned, have one of the better defenses in the league, so I can understand him not wanting to target him the ball, but again, not even playing a snap to run a decoy route or something. Nothing. I mean, I just didn't really agree with that, especially because, again, when you draft a guy high up in the draft, you expect them to be able to do something for you in this upcoming season. I get the Rams do have depth, but Terrance Ferguson not finding a way to get on the field, again, that's probably partially the coaching staff's decision as well, but it really doesn't bode well for confidence throughout the remainder of the season, or at least against the better teams in the league when they play against the Eagles. They play against the Bucs later on. I know their defense isn't amazing, but it's certainly not awful. I mean, we'll see what the Lions' defense looks like by the time we play them too. And the Niners' defense still is healthy. That offense is not, but that defense is still healthy. And as long as that defense is healthy, It is one of the better units in the league. So we'll see how the Rams really want to go about that with using Terrance Ferguson against these better teams. And that's the only way he's going to learn, is by playing against these teams, by getting better. And I do believe Terrance Ferguson will have a bigger impact as the season goes on. That's kind of what I said throughout the entire preseason, even before he got hurt, was that by the time the season ends, I think he's going to be a very key part of the offense. But you'd like to at least see him make some impact on offense early on throughout the season. Ferguson may not have caught a pass or played on offense, but McVay liked the way he contributed on special teams and supported his teammates, specifically noting his celebration after Allen's go-ahead touchdown, as we have another quote from McVay right now about this. I love his response in terms of making his presence felt where he could, but you look at who's one of the first people to come out there and greet Allen with the salute, it's Terrance Ferguson. After Davis catches the touchdown, and then he's out there playing wing on the field goal operation, McVay added. Again, those are positive things about Terrance Ferguson. Obviously, every player should be doing that. Terrance Ferguson played his role on special teams very well. And that's exactly what you want to see from a guy who didn't get any snaps on offense. It's how are they going to respond to not getting that role, to not getting those snaps. And it seems like he responded pretty well. I mean, we see players, specifically some wide receivers, who get a little bit annoyed at times. But Terrance Ferguson, obviously being a tight end, not a receiver, but Terrance Ferguson didn't get annoyed. He found his role. He played his role. He helped out with the team celebration. That should honestly boost his Madden rating already. I think I've been saying this for a while. Madden should have celebration ratings. Comment down below if you agree. And that should boost team morale ratings in all sports video games and all that. But with Terrance Ferguson, this is a good sign that he's a team player. He supports his team. These are all things that we knew about him coming into the draft, but it's nice to see even on the night, or an afternoon I should say, where he doesn't really make an impact on the stat sheet. He's still providing a good special team snaps. He's still providing an effort. He's involved in the game. His head's in the game. He knows what's going on, and he cares about his team and celebrating. Those are all good things to see. And I bet, again, the only way he's going to become an overall better football player is by getting some reps. Even if he plays 10 snaps next week and gets 2 targets and catches the ball, just getting your first NFL catch means so much. That it gets so much off your back. You're like, all right, I caught this pass. We're good now. Let's find our rhythm. Let's get this going to be in an even better spot moving forward. JB Long followed up by suggesting Ferguson will be a part of the equation sooner rather than later, based on the fact that he was dressed and active, and McVay did end up responding with a "for sure." During McVay's press conference earlier on Monday, he once again said that Ferguson's going to be a factor for us as well when discussing the depth the Rams have behind Higbee with Parkinson and Allen. As for the plan at tight end moving forward, McVay said it will vary by week. All 4 players have fairly different skill sets, so they can utilize them in a variety of ways. Ferguson is likely to be the best receiver of the group, but Higbee and Parkinson are solid blockers, and Allen offers a big frame in the red zone, and Sean McVay had some stuff to say about this as well, and I'll get that for you right now. I think it'll vary. I don't want to pigeonhole ourselves, he said. I think we want to be able to use our guys on a week-to-week basis. I'd like to be able to see Ferguson get involved a little bit as well, but I haven't even put our eyes on the Titans yet. Number 1, you want to be able to use all your players, but it's also predicated on what allows them to have successful outcomes, or what we believe gives them the best chance for successful outcomes for our team. I think getting all those guys involved is going to be a thing that we want to try to do, from Sean McVay. Yeah, I totally agree. You want to try to get all these guys involved. Again, Terrance Ferguson, 6'5", 256. That's a pretty decently sized frame to put in the red zone as well, put in the end zone. So I don't really know if Davis Allen is a better red zone threat or target than Ferguson. I think Ferguson has a way wider route tree that he can run than all of these guys. I get the blocking is not great, so I understand him not starting, but to say it's going to vary week to week, it's definitely an interesting approach. That's why it's strange. It's a really, really interesting approach that you don't see a lot of teams really use. A lot of teams, you have your 2-3 tight ends that you use, you know what sets you're going to use them in, and they're effective to the limits of their team, right? But for the Rams, you have 4 guys, really 3. I'm not a big Parkinson guy. I don't really think a lot of you in the comments are either, so I don't really see what Parkinson's offering besides the blocking. I think Parkinson's a better tight end to use on run plays, and that's really kind of it. And Terrance Ferguson, you could put him in more on pass plays, even just to have him running a decoy route or something. As I said earlier, like just having him out there with the offense, we can hear the plays in the huddle, make sure he's lined up properly. All the little things that make a tight end, like a Travis Kelce, so great. I'm not going to really compare Ferguson to Gronk just because I don't think the body types compare in the play style. But, like, you see Travis Kelce running all these different routes. Obviously not as much now, but, from 2017 to 18 to 2023, you saw him, running all these different routes. And that's what I think Ferguson can become similar to. Not the same. I don't think he's going to be as good as prime Travis Kelce, but I can definitely see Ferguson have an 800-yard season, 7 touchdown seasons once he fully gets integrated into this offense, which I do hope is sooner rather than later. I think it's important that he's integrated into this offense sooner rather than later, so the Rams can be more diverse, which is what LaFleur and McVay really talked about this entire offseason, diversifying the playbook. Now with this team, somewhat healthy, we'll get into the O-line a little bit later in this video, but with their skill players healthy, it's very important to make sure that you can diversify this offense. And I hope there's a bit more of a strategy than a week to week, and I just don't want to see Davis Allen as 3 targets, Ferguson 1 target, everyone else. Like, well, why was Tyler Higbee not going to be successful against the Texans? An NFL veteran who's now fully recovered from his ACL. That shouldn't be a problem at all. Almost being over a year and a half removed. That should not be a problem. And so I definitely don't understand that strategy. I understand some guys will be better week to week, but I think you should have some set idea of, okay, this guy's going to be good here. This guy's going to be good here. You're kind of just freestyling it, and I don't know if that's going to work throughout the entire season. The Rams didn't draft Ferguson for this year alone. They expect him to be a long-term factor, especially after Higbee retires. He's the future at the position for Los Angeles, even if that means taking a back seat to the veterans right now. Yeah, I agree with this. I understand that he's not going to have, 75 targets, 60 receptions, but you're telling me you can't find him a target a game? Like, you should at least try to throw him a ball a game. That builds up his confidence, builds up Stafford's confidence in him, because in a playoff game, you never know who you're going to need to step up. Like, if Tyler Higbee does get hurt, you're down. Being down to 3 tight ends is fine, but you're going to need all 3 of them to be ready to catch a pass whenever. And if you don't target Terrance Ferguson enough, that's not going to be the case for him. And knock on wood, nobody gets hurt for any team. And comment down below right now your thoughts on this situation. Because I think it's very interesting. It's weird, it's strange, but it can work. Sean McVay is a guy who's a very good coach. I'm not going to diss his coaching ability ever, because he was one of the best coaches I've ever seen coach. So I definitely believe he has some sort of strategy, but I think right now we're in the very early part of it, and I don't necessarily agree with how it's going right now. But leave in the comments down below what you think about that. And as I said, the Rams do have some O-line issues they need to solve before this Week 2 game against the Titans, and we have some injury updates to get into right now. This story as well brought to us by Rams Wire. The Los Angeles Rams aren't starting Week 2 prep on the right foot. 3 starting offensive linemen missed Wednesday's practice with ankle injuries per head coach Sean McVay. Tackle Rob Havenstein and guards Steve Avila and Kevin Dotson. It's unclear the severity of either of these injuries, but Avila and Dotson both missed time in Week 1 after getting injured. Avila didn't return until late in the second half, while Dotson never returned after his second half injury. McVay called both week to week when asked yesterday. The Havenstein injury appears to be new. Yeah, I don't know when Rob Havenstein got hurt. Obviously, we mentioned the Avila and Dotson injuries on the stream when they happened, but Avila and Dotson we knew were going to be week to week. Rob Havenstein, this is a new concern, because Havenstein obviously coming off of the shoulder procedure and multiple injuries the last few years. This is not the way you want to start with his O-line, especially you kept Stafford mostly upright in Week 1. He did a pretty good job with that. Stafford didn't take too crazy of hits. He's healthy heading into Week 2. If the Rams, I highly doubt they're going to miss all 3 of these guys, but I do think one of them is not going to play. I can't tell you who. I don't know who. But just based off of feel, I believe one of them is not going to play. So if you're only down 1, I think you're okay. But being down 3 offensive linemen to a Titans defense, they do have Jeffrey Simmons. They do have L'Jarius Snead. The Titans defense is okay. The offense is not great right now, but their defense is not terrible. Like, you have some names. Like Jeffrey Simmons, you got to block. You got to watch for. He's going to get some sacks. L'Jarius Snead's a guy who can read the quarterback and read routes so well out of that secondary. The Chiefs miss him right now. But outside of those 2 guys, it's not really much, but both of those guys can create havoc to an offensive line, especially that is missing potentially 3 players. I don't think that's going to be the case. It could be. That would be worst case scenario, and the Rams would actually be in jeopardy losing the game, in my opinion, to a team they should have no business losing to, in the sense of losing your best 3, not best 3, but 3 of your best 5 offensive linemen for this game. It's definitely concerning heading into this Week 2 matchup. McVay added Wednesday that while none of the 3 have been ruled out for Week 2 against the Tennessee Titans, their statuses for the game remain up in the air. Yeah, this is important. Nothing has been determined yet about whether these players are going to play or not play. I mean, once the team leaves for Tennessee, probably either tomorrow or Friday, we might get some more info. I mean, hopefully all three of them travel. Again, these aren't severe injuries, so my guess is they will. But if someone really isn't doing great, then they won't. And if that happens, then we know one of them's not playing. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I do believe everyone will be traveling with the team to Tennessee. So we just have to wait and see here. Again, it's not great having a guy like Jeffrey Simmons, who you're really going to probably be relying on Alaric Jackson to block. This is not ideal. Just having really one guy that you feel confident with blocking Jeffrey Simmons. Because I wouldn't be surprised if they move him up and down that defensive line so we can get some good matchups on that O-line and wreak havoc on Matthew Stafford like we saw him do to Bo Nix and the Broncos earlier on in this week 1 of the NFL season. The Rams' offensive line didn't look great in their week 1 win against the Houston Texans after quarterback Matthew Stafford was sacked 3 times and hit 6 times. LA also only rushed for 72 yards on 25 attempts for 2.9 yards per carry. That ranked 29th in the league in week 1. This is why the Rams kept so many linemen on the roster. Losing Avila or Dotson would mean Bo Limmer or Justin Dedich would slide into a starting role. Warren McClendon, DJ Humphries, or David Quisenberry would be next man up for right tackle in place of Havenstein. Probably Quisenberry, because I think Humphries is a better left tackle, but I also think he's the best out of that group. And McClendon, I think he kind of be a fill-in guy wherever. I think he's your Swiss Army knife. O-line, yeah, I'd say the O-line did an okay job because, again, the Texans' defense, one of the best in the league. In this defense, it's definitely a step down, but it's not awful. Again, if you're missing only one of these guys, I think they'd be okay. But if you're missing all three of them, then that is where you do get concerned, because they made the Broncos' offense and another great offensive mind in Sean Payton not look very good in that game. So the Rams definitely need to be wary of this and create a game plan that is kind of somewhat injury-proof in terms of making sure the O-line is okay with these injuries and making sure Stafford can get the ball out fast, and the Rams can have some good running lanes too, hopefully. Hopefully for LA, these are just maintenance days for the veterans and not indicative of any injury that could cost them a week 2 appearance. Oh, totally agree. This is exactly what we're hoping for. Comment your thoughts on this right now too. How big of an issue do you think this could be if the Rams are missing 3 O-linemen? I don't think that's going to be the case, but I definitely think at least one of them's not going to play. I don't know who yet, so comment that down below, your thoughts right now. And that's it for this episode of Rams Digest. Remember to make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 5K, 5,000 subscribers right now. Hit that sub button, hit that bell, hit that notification bell. Make sure notifications are turned to all so you never miss whenever we post our daily new Rams Digest video content covering all things Rams so you don't miss a beat this NFL season. Leave a like on this video right now for week 2 approaching, starting tomorrow. Rams game on Sunday, 1-0, feeling good. And comment down below your thoughts on Terrance Ferguson and the tight end situation overall. Definitely being strange. I really don't know how to feel about it. Kind of had mixed opinions. And leave in the comment section down below right now as well your thoughts on the O-line situation. Definitely a potential problem heading into this week 2 or even week 3 matchup against the Eagles, where the Rams will need all 3 of these offensive linemen for sure. I've been your host, Joshua Finehirsh, as always. Thank you very much for watching another episode of Rams Digest. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you soon for another one, and have a great rest of your day.